fans, this is AmiPolizeiFunk, and I am coming at you live from Berlin. We are here entering the next phase of Sunday night fights. That's right, the qualifying tournaments are behind us. That was 8 weeks of quali tournaments. We've had so many matches, so many replays, so many great shows. They're still coming out. I'm seeing casts of early qualifier games coming out on YouTube channels. Shout out to all the shoutcasters that are bringing the fans great Company of Heroes action. We have a very special show for you tonight. We are entering the semifinal stage. Only 4 players remain, that's right. And after tonight, only 3 will remain. I'm here with a very special guest tonight. Well, first of all, of course, I have to introduce my co-caster, who's always with me, my right-hand man, always by my side, backing me up when I don't know how much ammo a Panzerfaust costs. It's Yoink!
I am the non-special guest. I'm just the average guest. That's what I am. I'm like a guest at every show, but just average. Thank you for having me every week on Sunday Night Fights. I am excited, as well as you are, that we are now in the Final 4. Aimstrong and DevM tonight, with a special guest. Ami, tell us who it is.
May I present to the show, let's roll out the red carpet and give a big clap, clap, clap for Relic's lead QA on Company of Heroes 2. That's right, let me introduce to you Matt Phillip, otherwise known as Eagleheart. What's up, Matt?
Hey guys, clap, clap, that was awesome.
That's what we get. We get clap spams. I'll never forget it. One of the first shoutcasts I ever did was a tournament back, and we were broadcasting on Xfire. This is when like live streaming really stunk. It was horrible. We would broadcast on Xfire, and we would have like 30 fans, you know, and then when we'd come on the show, they would spam clap in the chat. It was like clap, clap, clap. Nobody's doing it now. I don't know what's up.
I can already see it in the chat here. We got people talking about mirror matches already. It's great. It's great.
Oh boy. Alright, well we'll save that for just a bit later. Let's see. Yeah, well we're going to do an interview with you, so we might as well get started. That's what you're here for. But first, a little order of business. I have to speak on behalf of Guderian, who is set to be our guest analyst tonight. Guderian lives in China. He grew up in Russia. He's spent many years in London. This cat gets around the world. He goes back and forth. Well, now he's back in China again, and he was going to be our guest analyst. He's a top player, tournament winner. You know, we were very excited about all of this, and so he's at the PC Bang with like 100 PCs surrounded. You know, he brings Company of Heroes on a hard drive and he plugs it in and like he plays it right off the hard drive at the PC Bang. And so he was all set up to go. We were doing mic checks and he was playing with different ports on the PC and so forth. And then he gets a phone call from his friend's girlfriend's boyfriend or something like this, and somebody has been in a motorcycle accident. So we have to say we wish that they are not injured or anything, and I don't think it's serious. I just think that Guderian needed to be called to the scene to act as a translator. So he's going to be helping out his friends right now. He promised to be back in an hour, so hopefully we'll have him on for maybe game 2 or game 3. So we hope that all goes well, and Guderian can rush back to the PC Bang and represent here for all you SNF fans. So we're short an analyst, but it doesn't matter because we have Eagleheart here, and we're very excited to have another representative of Relic after Tribal Bob joined us a few weeks ago. Matt, Relic, you guys just moved studios, right? I mean, didn't you move from like one location to another location? What's it like at the new place?
Yeah, that's correct. So we just moved to Yaletown, which I believe, now I've only been with Relic for 3 years, but I think Relic, at one point, their office was a few meters to where it is currently. So we've apparently moved back to what Quinn has told me is, yeah, a space that we're known to be around.
Back to your roots. That's fair enough. Company of Heroes, did you work on the, I guess, did you work at all on the first one? Probably not if you've only been there for 3 years. Like, what games did you work on?
That's correct. So yeah, since I've been there, I worked on Company of Heroes Online and then Space Marine, and yeah, the reason why I came to Relic was Company of Heroes, easily. So second I found out we were gonna do Company of Heroes 2, I was like, I want to be on that game. Put me on that right now.
Wow, that is excellent to hear. I love the fact that you were a fan of the game and now you're part of the development team. That's just music to my ears. One of the questions I wanted to ask you was, when you first heard about it, were there some initial meetings with Quinn where he kind of laid out to the team what his objectives were for Company of Heroes 2? Do you remember what those original objectives were?
I wasn't fortunate enough to be part of most of the primary meetings. I was still finaling Space Marine at the time, but once I got down, yeah, it just seemed like the goal was, take Company of Heroes, take the framework, take that high Metacritic rating, and let's just improve upon that and, give everything the fans want, pretty much, kind of deal.
And did you know about the game before or after Quinn took a couple employees to Germany and Russia to research it?
Yeah, I was on the team at that point, and yeah, there's a few of the key leads that got to go to Eastern Europe, check things out, and that was awesome. I mean, we got to do, I remember during the summer, we got to go to some museum and just see all sorts of weapons. We saw, I think there's a YouTube video out on it of Sherman tank coming in. I think well, that's right, I took a ride in an M5 half-track, and that was awesome, just awesome.
Where, in Vancouver? You took a ride in an M5?
Yeah,
or
in
where
Vancouver.
Was that? No kidding. Wow, excellent. That's really fascinating. When I went to London, one of my favorite things to do is go to their Imperial War Museum and their Bovington Tank Museum. That stuff blew me away. And I heard that Quinn went to those spots too, which is just really cool. I love that so much research is going into this. Did you have to do research specifically for your role in the Code 2 development?
Well, for myself, it was mostly preparation work, just getting the framework. But yeah, I've also actually been to that the London Museum as well. It was a long time ago, but that's the one with the big. Which one has got that massive, huge cannon in the front of it, right?
Yeah, that's the Imperial War Museum, exactly. Yeah. That place is fantastic.
So I know I didn't do too much research myself up until maybe around a year ago when I started getting into making the maps. And that's when the research started for myself.
Wow, so not only do you do QA, which is kind of like an overview of the entire game, but you've also done some map design.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I mean, we generally have specialists, people that just gear down, focus on one area, and then we kind of have generalists like myself, and even though my official title is lead QA, I've been doing quite a bit of the multiplayer map work. I've also done production support. So yeah, there's people like myself that are just flexible. We do all sorts of different things.
That's what I was going to ask you. What is a typical day like for you at the Relic Studios? After you come in and have your coffee and get going, what are the things you have to deal with? Just pick a typical day.
So I imagine it's fairly similar to most game studios. Come in, get the morning meetings, the morning scrums in place. Talk about what everyone's going to do throughout the day, and kind of just get going. Usually the afternoon, we just kind of work hard. Scope the forums, see what you guys are chiming in about, and see what we can do to improve things.
Nice. Going back to the map design stuff, in the alpha, I have permission to speak about the Kolodny Ferma battlefield, which looks like a very interesting 1v1 cold tech map, and you were part of the design of this map?
Correct, yeah, that was one of our first 1v1 maps, and that was kind of, I won't take full credit for it, but actually quite a few of our maps this time around have kind of been like a collage of multiple people doing maybe up to 4 guys even working on just one map. So, but yeah, so that one features the cold tech in winter, so it was a bit of a challenge for sure.
I'm particularly interested in that map because that sort of features this one high fuel point in the south, and it becomes a real early point of contention. I played the alpha quite a bit, and when I knew I was against somebody good when we sent our first fighting units to that fuel point, and it changed hands throughout the game, and it was amazing. It turned Code 2 for me into a completely different game. The speeds of the teching, everything was different when there was a back and forth fight over that fuel, and there's a cutoff point for it. So I mean, I see that map as promising. what was your objective or the team's objective when you approached making that particular map for KOTU?
Yeah, it's interesting that that map features just the one fuel point. I was actually the one who decided to go with putting just one fuel point there, and it was simply, you know what, this is the alpha stress test, it's time to experiment. Let's just try something new. If we put one fuel point there and then people say, hey, this is actually going well, or no, I hate this, it was kind of our time to experiment, so that's how we went with that. In terms of the winter tech stuff, things like deep snow, that's plays a bit of a factor in that map, but that one's deep snow is kind of a challenge because, you know, it's similar to how water worked in the fact that it slowed infantry down, and obviously community members, you know, dislike that to a certain degree, so it's all about kind of using it in pockets and having it actually make sense to where the deep snow is.
Well, I have to get on my soapbox now that I've got the opportunity just for 1 second. I have to say that my biggest fear when I played the pre-alpha at Gamescom in Cologne was that it could become too campy of a game. You've already got cold tech that slows things down a bit, and you've got, you know, two factions that both have MGs available to them, and I was worried that with less sectors and with no like particular like early game points of contestation, that it would become too, like, players would sort of turtle near their bases and become too campy, and that's exactly the opposite of what we as like competitive co-players really love about the game. Like, my favorite thing that I ever see in an early game is when sectors are flashing all over the map, and we as casters are tasked to try to cover all the action because there's harassment going on by different units in remote locations of the map. So I'm hoping that you guys can, you know, like, stay true to that sort of beauty of the early Company of Heroes metagame, not metagame, but the early Company of Heroes mechanic of fighting.
Definitely, definitely, and I actually agree with almost everything you just said right there. We noticed that throughout the alpha stress test that there wasn't enough harassment on the points, and we didn't see as much cutoff gameplay as actually we wanted. So, you know, Quinn, myself, and a lot of the rest of the designers sat down and were like, you know, harassment is a huge part of COH, so is cutoffs. We got to get these back. We got to get the focus back on that. So we're working in the right direction to bring that stuff back and make sure that that's in line. In terms of the cold tech, we don't want cold tech slowing down the pace. We want cold tech to actually just add like that extra layer of strategy, and I found, at least as of late, that cold tech isn't slowing it down. It's just kind of giving another element to think about when strategizing and everything. But yeah, well, we're definitely working on tweaking that.
Yeah, if it adds strategy to the game, that's fantastic. You know, seeing, you know, ideally it would set up the situation where players could like set traps or make, you know, like surprise attacks. Like, it could really be dynamic, and I think dynamics is central to this entire conversation. I personally want to see a highly dynamic game. I want to see maps that facilitate dynamic play. I don't want to see like turtling, static front lines. I want to see like activity and flow. Anyway, all right, so soapbox over. Let's touch on some of the like hot points in the forums right now. One of them that I didn't prepare you for, perhaps, is, are you able to reveal anything about like the multiplayer lobby and matchmaking? Because we didn't see any of that in the alpha. Well, to an extent, we just saw a very basic version.
Yeah, I don't think I can comment too much on the multiplayer lobby or how the auto match system is going to work, but you guys are going to find out in the beta, and that's just around the corner. So before you know it, you guys can hit up the forums and light us up with your feedback and comments on that.
We are all so itching for the beta. We can't wait. I hope that it's still in January. It's still set for January, I hope. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I don't want to give any official dates out there, but probably definitely within the next, 2 or 3 weeks somewhere.
Probably definitely. My favorite kind of answer. Okay.
That's the best. Probably definitely, yeah.
Here's another hot forum topic that just, if like you mention it, it gets hundreds of posts instantly. Mirror matching. Has Relic, how do you plan to approach this contentious issue of the mirror match?
I plan on letting Quinn figuring that out pretty much.
Okay. Quinn's the
You know,
big
he's
boss.
the one with the he's the one with the ultimate power. He'll make the decisions on what's going on. But I think what we're going to try to do for the beta is experiment with giving kind of the option of both to a degree, and then we're going to sit down, reevaluate it again, see what people want. And I think the goal is, if people don't want mirror matches, like let's say, I'll give an example. Let's say the community just hates mirror matches in auto match. Quinn's going to listen to that, and Relic will probably make an adjustment.
That's fine by me. The community having an influence is great. The fact that you guys are listening, I just feel that in the past few months, both Relic and THQ have been really approachable, and just you being here on this show is fantastic for the fans. We highly appreciate that, and it's great that you're checking out the forums and that you're joining community forums. Every time a dev joins co2.org, of course, I'm just extremely happy to slap a dev badge on you guys, and every time you post, it's fantastic for us to see that you're interacting with us, and that it shows us that you care, basically, and that's the main thing. And the fact that you're a fan of the game, and I hear White Flash and you have been running team games together. You guys have been playing code together. That's the coolest thing. Are you guys winning, or how's it going there at 2v2?
Yeah, so far we've played a couple 1v1s. I hooked up with White Flash and Uncle Sam maybe like a month or two ago, because with map design, and I really respect a lot of the community mappers out there. I think they've got some amazing maps. So I've downloaded the packs. I'm starting to play with White Flash. As you said, I've jumped onto coh2.org. I'm in there. I think I read all the feedback, every single piece of feedback related to all the map feedback you guys gave for the alpha stress test, and it takes a lot of time to write feedback, and not just feedback, but map feedback. So whenever you guys do that, that is just awesome. It's myself. I know Quinn is hitting the forums like a madman all the time. He's probably right now on the forums on Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah.
Wow, so he's a lurker. That's good to know, because he doesn't post often, but just the idea of him lurking makes me happy in itself.
Can I jump in real quick with a question, Ami?
Yeah, of course.
Hey, Eagle, so, it's been a long time since Company of Heroes has been patched, obviously, because the game has sort of run its development course already, but I know that you are obviously going to be involved with a lot of how maybe the game is developed and the patching process works. Does Company of Heroes 2 have a completely different patching process? Because the original Company of Heroes had a very cumbersome and extended length patching process that slowed a lot of things down. Can you talk a little bit about how it will be different as Company of Heroes 2 develops?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to comment too much. I definitely know that being a fan and having played Company of Heroes before I worked at Relic, I know about the cumbersome patching and how that went. I've talked to our lead programmer, and he assures me that this time around is going to go smoother, but other than that, I really am not too sure actually about the patching process.
Okay, I had just heard that Company of Heroes 2 was actually built on sort of with a different design in mind that allowed for patching to be a lot easier and faster, because we all know that Company of Heroes 1 I can remember the developers talking on the forums about how incredibly hard it was to patch the game to get it all done correctly, but I'm hoping that maybe you'll say Company of Heroes 2 won't have that same problem.
Yeah, I want to make that promise, but I guess I just won't, just in case something backfires.
Better safe
That's
than
good,
sorry.
I understand. Yeah, right.
All right, the fans are drooling for games. We got Aimstrong and DevM, two of the best Company of Heroes players that have ever been, coming right up after this interview. Eagle, I want to throw you a couple quick-fire questions just as a way of wrapping this up. First of all, your favorite infantry unit in Company of Heroes 2?
Oh, that's a tough one. I know Quinn really likes mortars, and actually I'm a huge fan of mortars as well. I really like we have a heavy, the Russian or the Soviet side there has a heavy 120 millimeter mortar. I'm a huge fan of that. Just rains down huge, and it's awesome. It's got massive range. It's probably maybe a little overpowered at the moment, but once we balance that out, I think that might be one of my favorite units. I also like a lot of the elite-style Soviet forces, the guard troops. They have a lot of flexibility. So yeah, maybe one of those two.
The Guards troops, they're badasses. Yeah, I'm a big fan of theirs as well. All right, favorite vehicle?
Well, let's put it this way with the guard troops. I mean, they have capes. That's just awesome right there. Favorite vehicle?
All right. Those great capes are, yeah, the way they flow as they're vaulting like over something. Great stuff. That's something I immediately noticed when I first sunk my teeth into the pre-alpha is their capes and how just wonderfully they were animated with their motions.
Yeah, definitely. You get them vaulting over the walls. It just looks majestic as they're going and vaulting into the snow, and then before you know it, they're under MG fire or something, and the capes are, they're on the ground.
So vehicle, tough, right? A lot of choices.
That is really tough. For now, I'll just say maybe the SU-76. It's it's kind of like a mobile AT gun, but it also has an artillery option. I'm trying to think of what it compares to in COH. You've played it. What unit would it kind of compare to?
The Hotchkiss. I don't know. No, it's like a cross between a tank and a mortar. It's more of a mortar lob shot that it does. I don't know. It's an interesting vehicle. It's a new vehicle. You guys are going to see that in the beta real soon. So last quick fire question, like what are you most proud of in Company of Heroes 2?
Oh boy, that's putting me on the spot. I think Quinn once mentioned like a while ago that Company of Heroes is mostly about kind of the sum of all its parts together, not really just one element, but when you actually get everything in sync, aligned, feels good, and then the whole combination feels good. So it's kind of hard to put, what are we most proud of, but yeah, some of the new mechanics, like with in regards to vaulting. The cold tech, maybe the line of sight system actually. The line of sight is something that it's one of those small adjustments, but as I was playing games through the alpha stress test, I was like, wow, the line of sight is awesome.
Yeah, it's tangible. It makes a difference right off the bat. Like, something that might be a problem in Company of Heroes where you have, say, an early armored car, right? PE, like couple PGs, armored car rush. It's almost a standard automatic strat because it's so strong. And when you have the line of sight as it is in Company of Heroes, that armored car is never going to get sticky because he can see rifles coming from any direction all the time. He's got 360 vision. Like if you're good at micro, and many of these guys are amazing, who's gonna get stickied? Nobody. You'd have to be terrible to get stickied. So but with line of sight, it's entirely different. I was playing some badasses in the alpha, like Cepha and all these like nasty mofos, and you can actually like set a trap for them by like sort of giving them some bait for their armored car. Like here's an weak little infantry squad capping in a remote location. Meanwhile, you can have some like AT nated up conscripts hiding behind some hedge just waiting for it to stream by, and if your micro's good and you can nail it, you can set these like great little ambushes that could never exist without true sight. So that's something I really look forward to, and like the way the players are going to exploit this, that's the most fun, is to just see what people are going to do with it. So before we let you go, Eagle, we might have to call you back to join us for a shoutcast. If Guderian doesn't come back after Game 1, I'm expecting you to come in here and cast Game 2 with me. Do you think that you could handle that?
Yeah, why not? I'll give it my best shot. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I've seen both these guys play. I don't know their history as well as a lot of people here, but I've seen them play recent games, and I can't wait. I'm actually like, I know it's it's only 12:30 here in Vancouver. I'll be honest, I'm still waking up. I've got my beet juice here on my side, but yeah, I'm stoked. That'd be awesome.
All right, great. And if that doesn't occur, if Guderian does make it back in time, are there any shout-outs you'd like to send out right now before we let you go?
Yeah, sure. I'll just quick shout-out to, the whole community, everyone that participated in the alpha stress test, gave feedback. That was awesome, guys. We got the beta around the corner. Seriously, we hit those forums hard, and we look at everything you guys say. So make sure you post up your comments, concerns next time. Maybe quick shout-out to everyone at Relic. If there's any of the Sunday night viewers, I know Tribal Bob might be watching right now, people like that. And yeah, quick shout out to maybe White Flash, Uncle Sam, Felix at THQ, and a couple ex-Relicans, Spencer and Jordan. And I think that sums it up.
All right. Well, it's been our absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you very much for taking time out of your Sunday morning to join us. And we are going to jump now into the brackets, and soon after that, we will be showing you the fight card if NTD could take us to the brackets. Thank you so much, Matt. Give him some love out there, SNF fans. It is a real special treat to have Eagleheart with us today.
Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
All right, Yoink. Come on back here. We're down to our final four. Only 3 shows left. Can you believe it? I'm getting sad in advance of us being out of SNFs to cast. Tonight, as you can see, all of the qualifier tourney brackets are filled. If NTD would now zoom us in on the semifinals, we're down to these 4 players, and there aren't any shockers or Silurenda players. No Silurenda players play Company of Handos any longer. It's down to just the pros. Yes, the Cinderellas have been defeated. All of the upset underdogs are out. It is now just down to these top 4 seeds. And the first matchup is going to be tonight. If NTD would take us to the fight card, Yoink, we got Aimstrong and DevM. How about it?
You know, we've seen DevM in just about every single show that we've done since the first qualifying tourney started, and we haven't seen Aimstrong since, what, like the second or third episode of the season, because he locked in his spot in the Final Four way early. It was like six weeks ago that he did this. So, you know, I'm really excited to see Aimstrong again, and DevM has really grown as a player throughout this season. I think that he started a little shaky early on, and he took a couple of really hard losses during a couple of the first 2 qualifying tournaments, but now the man is a lean, mean machine, and going up against Aimstrong, these are going to be epic battles tonight, don't you think?
I'm so excited for this. There were a few moments in the season, especially in Tournament 3, where we had some amazing upsets, but I think a lot of the season has gone how you would have expected it to go, but I think now we're at a stage where it's just too close to call. DevM faltered a bit yesterday. He actually lost on Langres to Sandland, so I'm a little worried about his confidence. Before that had occurred, I would have said this is totally 50-50. I have no idea who's going to win. But after seeing him sort of collapse against Sandland, which is a shocker, he was streaming it too on his own stream, and he had hundreds of viewers yesterday, and so we were all shocked that he couldn't close the door. I'll be waiting for some shoutcasts to come out of those games, because those were excellent games. So now I'm a little bit worried about him, but we'll see how he'll perform, and if NTD would bring us into the game, had a long interview. You guys are itching. We're eager. I'm eager to see who's going to win this. So let's just get this replay started and get this SNF rolling. Yoink, who would you like to follow tonight?
Well, you know what? How about I'll follow DevM, who's playing for the Americans in the north of Bois de Châtelet. So I'll follow him.
All right, and so I will be following Simon. And let's see if NTD is about ready. He's working on it, and we can see our overlay there.
As NTD works on this, I just want you to reference the name that DevM is playing under, Ami, for the Americans in the North. Do you see that name?
No, I'm following Simon.
Oh, okay. Well, it's SNF Company of Handos. So you know that even when the pro players appreciate Sunday night fights and the little inside jokes that we have here on the game, it's got to be a good feeling, right?
Inside jokes, nice way to put it. You mean straight blunders, but yeah, we can only look forward to the blunders that we will commit tonight, as there will always be some. I've already fumbled over Cinderella. I can't seem to say things, but okay, I am fully ready, man. I'm excited for this. I will try to be blunder-free, but don't hold me to it. We are paused at 5 seconds. Yoink, are you ready to go? NTD, are you ready to go? Fans, are you ready to go? All right, let's start this first Season 4 semifinal. This is a best of 5. There was a map veto, And after the players vetoed the maps, Bois du Châtelet by Uncle Sam wound up being our map for Game 1 and Game 2. Let's see how the players handle it. We're going to unpause in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I guess NTD is showing his fanship of his San Francisco 49ers, who are looking good right now against the Seahawks. He's a big Cisco fan. He held it over my head that his Giants won the World Series and chucked my Cincinnati Reds out after the Reds were up 2-0. That was kind of sad. But away from the NFL and back to Sunday Night Fights, Company of Heroes, here we go. Bois du Châtelet, Game 1 and 2 map, very interesting. People are saying that because of the flanking avenues to the center and because of the munitions on the wings and how easy it is to control those munitions for the Allies, that this is an Allied-favored map. And this is really great that we get to see Aimstrong playing it as Wehrmacht, because he came out in his first contender bout in Week 2 and simply shut Symbiosis down. Symbiosis, you know, maybe, I guess, a 1 or 2 seed for the entire event, definitely at the very, very top. Aimstrong went to the center, wired it up, entrenched himself with MGs and Volks, shifted back and forth, sacrificed the resources on the rims to control the center, and then, you know, after a nice pack shot through the trees, he forged his way onto a victory as Wehrmacht on this supposedly Allied-favored map. But here he's up against DevM, whose early Allies game is world-renowned.
Well, let me tell you, Ami, not only is obviously DevM one of the finest American players, I should say he's a Portuguese player, but he plays the American team very well. He's going with his super aggressive American rifleman strat. He only single-built an engineer squad at the beginning, so now he has 2 American rifle squads out on the field now, which is going to put him in sort of a manpower advantage here. As you were talking about on Bois du Châtelet, riflemen really shine because they can flank through these big open corridors and control the wings here, and I think that's exactly what DevM is going to try and do.
Well, looks like Aimstrong is following the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And he is gone Volks MG, and he's already starting to clog up that wire in the center. And this particular piece of wire, I think, is so important to his early game strat. And I was actually surprised. Look at this one Volk getting away from his squad. Was that some, like, cap walking there going on? That was interesting. I wonder what his objective was in doing that. He knew the rifles were there, and yet he's cap-walked this one Volk over. Anyway, but I was surprised that other players didn't learn from Aimstrong and do that exact same piece of wire. He's sending capping units to both sides. He's already sort of given up the right, and now he's shifting his MG all the way over to the left. It's like he's playing it even more aggressively than he did last time.
Well, I was a little disappointed to see that DevM had to retreat that first rifle squad, because having 3 rifles on the field is really, really important for what I think is going to be his aggressive early game, you know, put my rifles in every part of the map strategy. And to have one run back to the base at this point, he's diminishing his own strategy here. He should have found a way to just, you know, walk that rifle back instead of trying to take it all the way back with a hard retreat. Now we see a rifle squad here on the right that's under a lot of pressure by German forces. This other rifle squad here is coming to rescue it, but you know what? Aimstrong may have DevM's number here. He may know what's going on, and he's done an excellent job of moving that MG42 around, because keeping it static really wastes it. And look, again, look how aggressive he's moving this MG42 right up behind these Volks. And this poor rifle squad doesn't have any backup. And you know what? This is not the way to play an aggressive rifle strategy, by moving your guys back to their base. I'm not exactly sure how DevM is going to change his strategy here to accommodate this.
All right, well, here comes another rifle squad from the right, but Aimstrong is right there to set his MG up by that sort of small little land river there, and immediately it starts firing. And, you know, that explains what that cap-walking Volk was doing. he was providing extended LOS for the MG to get it to start firing on those rifles earlier. That kind of little detail is just beautiful to see. I think, you know, it's MG placement, but more importantly, it's scouting for the MG. Look at all of these squads providing line of sight and giving the MG solid targets. When it sets up, it fires. That's what you want as Wehrmacht early game.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, while I will say that, you know, I thought a couple of these first tactical engagements have not gone well for DevM, he is doing his part by capping an enormous part of the map. Resources are going to start flowing into the American team a lot faster than Aimstrong would probably like. And while he brings his sniper up, I do see a German sniper now moving up into the left side of the field. You know, Aimstrong's got to do something about his resource problem. He's pretty much cut off from any kind of fuel at this point, and this is going to allow, you know, Americans to tech up with bars or however, whichever way DevM wants to go with his teching choice. And it doesn't matter how well you move your MG42 around. If you've got rampaging rifles with bars and sticky grenades, it's not going to help you.
Well, I'm a bit surprised. In recent games, and particularly yesterday on many different maps, we've seen Wehrmacht staying in Tier 1 for quite some time, building 5, sometimes 6 Tier 1 units, building scouting vehicles, building multiple MGs, sometimes spamming out 3 squads of Volks. Aimstrong has not done that. After his Volk MG Volk sniper build, he has then teched already to Tier 2.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. We are seeing Tier 2 here now. I mean, his fuel income has got to be a little bit limited, but looking at how he's doing here in the center, you know, he's managed to fight off American flamers here in the center, so he's keeping that, you know, that sort of a flank of his army okay. I just heard a mine go off. Where was that? That was right in the center.
Yeah, right in the center. Killed 3 Volks, did amazing amounts of damage. I'm surprised they're still on the field. Whoa, they don't want to flirt around with touching this VP. Not with the rifles there picking them off. Aimstrong could lose that squad. He's microing on the left. Whoa, he still hasn't retreated. They're down to 1 man. Aimstrong, get out of there. Oh, pro retreat. They sneak behind that little tree. Another mine goes off on the left-hand side. That was one of Aimstrong's mines. He's spammed quite a few over there. In fact, there's a DevM mine right next to it. Aimstrong's got another mine surprising that rifle squad in the corner. They instantly retreat. I wonder if DevM will put up a triage center. Here it comes, right as I said. He plants it down. He's already got WSC, and has he started building a unit from the Tier 2 weapon support yet?
Supply lines are broken.
No, he hasn't. And, you know, I'm wondering, that little sort of drama that was going on by that center VP, I'm wondering if maybe Aimstrong was hoping that his MG42 would have started firing and it just never fired. You know, he was hoping that those Volks would give the MG42 line of sight to take out those riflemen, but I guess it just didn't happen. That was a very close call. I think that if he had lost that Volk squad, we would have seen a tragic turnaround in this game.
All right, here's what happens when you don't build a bike and you don't scout your opponent's base. You put up Tier 2 really quick and build a pack. There is, you know, you don't often see Aimstrong making a strategic mistake. I could go so far as calling that a mistake to build that pack this early, but he's just made one there. And so now we have some Grenadiers to follow them up, and, you know, if DevM can get that sniper out, or whatever he plans from the WSC, it could be very effective.
Well, you know, a sniper is building right now. He just used all of his manpower to do that, and so this is going to be trouble, obviously, for Aimstrong. He guessed wrong. It's not a game-breaking decision, but he did guess wrong. That's a bunch of manpower that's kind of wasted at this point. But I think if he reveals that pack to DevM, accidentally or on purpose, DevM is going to realize he is in a great position to, you know, really go with an infantry-based army. So we'll see if, you know, what Aimstrong's going to do with this giant piece, this giant gun in his territory that really has no use at this point in this army.
They'll have to hide this giant gun. But it's really now coming down to a sniper war phase. Both snipers are out. If DevM can get an early counter snipe, let's see if he can hide his sniper and get in position for a counter snipe, because that is probably like the most important thing that can happen in the next few minutes of this game.
Yeah, well, the American sniper moving southbound on that road, uncloaked. Well, now he's cloaked. He's realizing he's getting close to the front lines. I think that Aimstrong did reveal his sniper a little while ago, so obviously DevM knows it's out there. He's probably hunting for it in the center, as you know, both men know the center ends up being a bone of contention here on Bois de Châtelet. I'm impressed with how Aimstrong has come back and capped a good part of the map. This is going to be good for him. I think he's going to need some veterancy on his troops because he doesn't need another pack, that's for sure. There's still a little bit of drama going on way on the left here as Grenadiers engage rifles on the very left side of the field. But now here, I think these two snipers are getting awfully close to one another. Oh, look at that. There was
very nice.
There was
grenade on a mine. Very nice.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, DevM see him putting it down. He actually killed that Pioneer squad that laid that mine. They were trying to retreat down the road with only one guy. Ooh, sniper fires there. Aimstrong's got to be careful. He doesn't know that DevM has his sniper. But man, that road is a kiss of death, isn't it? How many units have we seen get annihilated trying to retreat down the middle of that road?
Oh, just zillions. I mean, it seems that, you know, on Argenton Crossroads, the graveyard is the, you know, hotbed of contention, usually. It's the center part of Bois de Châtelet that players usually end up killing the most amount of troops in. Wow, look at how close these two snipers are. They're just either on the other side of that sandbag there. I don't think they either know that they're there, obviously.
What I'm really impressed by is that, you know, with such a small, well, normal-sized Tier 1, you know, 4-unit. Oh, look at these double nades going in.
Double
Both players
awesome.
microing forward to avoid them. The Grenadiers are cheating by popping med packs. They're going to ensure the victory on that skirmish. What I'm impressed by is Aimstrong's map control. You know, he doesn't have a big Tier 1, so how is it that he's harassed so much of the map? You know, DevM's really sort of failed to hold his early map advantage, which should be, you know, standard for American gameplay at this stage. The snipers are fully aware of each other's locations now. They're trading pick-off shots. When you fire at one of my infantry, I'll fire at one of yours, and vice versa. And now they're both out of range of possible counter snipes. So, but this sort of conservative, you know, tit for tat is just great for Aimstrong because look at his Volks going around harassing the map. You know, there's a 2-man squad on the right, a 3-man squad, and they're capping territory like crazy. Usually at this stage of the game, it's the American that's leading in territory.
Yeah, this is exactly the opposite of the way I thought that this game would have turned out.
Oh, and there it is!
Oh,
That is it! That is it! This counter snipe up the middle, man! Oh, it's like his whole gameplay just fell apart in that one moment, you know? I mean, without going bars, by going early WSC, he sort of, and you know, no M8, there could easily be an M8 by now, we're 12 minutes in. Without any of those tools to retain map control, he was like pinning his hopes on his sniper, and his sniper just failed.
Oh, yeah, you know, he had the tactical advantage, actually he had the strategic advantage, because Aimstrong went with a Tier 2, you know, pack army, so DevM had a great chance to maybe he didn't realize it, but he, unknowingly or not, he had a great chance to really exploit a tech advantage, and he failed at that, and also this map control has kind of fallen apart too. It should be the exact opposite of what's going on with this many rifles on the field. DevM should be strongly in control of the map, and he's only about 50%, 45% in control, and now losing the sniper as well. This is not good. This is definitely not going his way right now, and I don't really know why. Missed grenade in the center.
He wasn't, you know, his early game had no bite to it, you know, without bars or nades or sort of any tool that could give him an advantage against those first couple squads of Grenadiers. You know, he lost a lot of 1v1 skirmishes, and now, you know, Aimstrong, you can't make a mistake against Aimstrong or he will hurt you. He's got a Puma outside DevM's base.
Yeah, and you know what? The motor pool isn't even completely built in DevM's base, and stickies aren't even purchased all the way. They're about 1 second away from being purchased here, but this is going to be a meat grinder right here, where this Puma's just going to be basically firing like fish in a barrel at these rifles right here, you know? They're going to be healing and reinforcing, but the manpower drain on DevM right now is just going to be intense as he just picks away at these rifles. Here they are trying to chase. Aimstrong must realize now that stickies have been purchased. But this Puma is just doing work, and Aimstrong got a look into DevM's base as well. So, and look at the map control now. Just like, you know, Germans all over the place.
You know, DevM has shown us just amazing defeats. He knocked Siberian Platoon out of his throne in last season's Sunday Night Fights. We know that he is capable of beating anybody. We've seen him beat almost everybody. But unlike some of the other players, in particular, Symbiosis and Aimstrong, it seems that he is the most emotional, that something can throw him. And I was afraid that, losing to Sandland yesterday would throw him off, and set him up for a bad situation today. And, if I was afraid before, I'm twice as afraid now, because this went just horribly for him. And I'm sure his confidence right now is shaken, and I think it will be difficult for him to regain his composure.
Well, yeah, that's... he's young. He's one of our youngest players that we see, and perhaps there is a little bit of tilting going on, as poker players do when they tilt a little bit. When they start losing, they can't stop losing. And he is building that M8 in the motor pool that could save him for a few seconds here. But look at the army that Aimstrong has fielded. He's got packs on the field. He's got 2 Pumas, and now DevM says that sniper was failed, didn't mean to fire. Okay, so it was a mistake. That does make sense why he would unleash sniper fire at just general infantry when he knew that Aimstrong had another sniper in the area. So one misclick sometimes will, cost you a serious portion of your army, just like it did. Oh, here comes German officer now up, just to taunt your opponent a little bit, don't you think?
I mean, well, that sniper getting counter-sniped was like the final nail in the coffin of this early game 1 here on Bois. But to be honest, that wasn't everything. He was already behind when that happened. He failed in more senses than just the counter-snipe. He was already losing map control to understrength Volksgrenadiers and Pioneers capping around, long before that occurred. And so his inability as Americans, perhaps it was his teching choice, I'm not exactly sure, or just his unwillingness to defend his own sectors. Understrength units capped him out of sectors. Look how fast that M8 goes down, and that is GG right there. But, it's like the sniper was the cleanup hitter knocking the ball 500 yards out of the park, right? But the 500 feet, sorry. But the way the guys all got on base was him not defending his sectors and, getting his first 2 rifles pinned and having to retreat. That's bad from the start. Aimstrong just had excellent LOS. He protected that early LMG so well. And, Aimstrong adapts. What I like about his game is that, I expected him to sort of spend more time in the center welling it up with mines and wire and all this, but he saw that he got an advantage, by pinning that first rifle squad. He's like, I'm ahead now. And it's like he smells, he smells weakness, and he knows how to put salt in the wound. He knows how to just pry it open and gouge somebody's heart out. And so unlike what we saw him do against Simbi, where he was much more defensive in the center, he just went strong to the left, and he brought his MG over to the left, and he won those engagements. And suddenly, you win an engagement in the middle, you win an engagement in the left, there's guys capping all over the place. He was in great shape from the start, long before the counter snipe. The counter snipe was the nail in the coffin, though. That put DevM at a disadvantage. He's renowned for his strong allies play, and he looked very shaken there. I'm hoping that we see some good Wehrmacht play from him in Game 2. We'll check in to see if Darian's back, or if perhaps Eagleheart will shoutcast the next game with me. Does that pretty much cover it, Yoink?
Yeah, I think so. I think that DevM now has to work double time on the second game of Bois du Châtelet as Germans, because Aimstrong's Americans, I think they're going to be everywhere. Aimstrong's going to try and do what DevM could not in Game 2. So let's find out right after this.